Welcome to Affirm Your Abundance, the podcast that empowers you to lead mindfully and grow abundantly. I'm your host, Tiffany Roldan-Howell, and don't forget to subscribe to get new affirmations each week. Now, let's get started with today's episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. If this is your first time with us, we are currently on part 3 of a 4-part Avoiding Summer Burnout series. And for this episode, I wanted us to go over the method of unplugging in order to be more present. And this isn't just for summer. This is in general, regardless what season you are in your life. Do you know how to unplug? And do you know when you need to unplug? And this is important because a recent survey done here in the United States found that 57% of Americans admit to being addicted to their cell phones. So last week we talked about setting boundaries, but this week we're not talking about setting boundaries with each other. We'll be talking about how to set boundaries with your phone. Here are 5 simple tips that I've learned in order to unplug and be more present. Tip number 1. While working, I like to put my phone either in my purse or face down on my desk behind my laptop, because the point for me is out of sight, out of mind. Then, once my task is finished, once I've sent that email or I've written that report, then I'll go check my phone, use it as a reward or a game before putting it back out of my field of view and then returning back to my next task. And the truth is, your brain is already playing this game. That's the reason why you have such an impulse to check your phone every 5 seconds anyway. So what we're really doing is being more intentional as well as managing our impulses. Tip number 2. When I have company over, I like to leave my phone either in another room or in an area that's far away from my reach. And instead of being compelled to check it, now I'm able to give my full attention to my company, which they deserve. Tip number 3. Utilize Do Not Disturb. And to be honest, I'm probably a little too rigid here because I live on D&D and that's probably not good either. But find ways that allow the Do Not Disturb function to help you. And make sure that you have a nice voicemail box set up too, because people will be hearing it. Tip number 4. You cannot allow everyone to have access to you and have your attention at all times. That's just a no. So I actually recommend taking social media breaks very often. I take one all the time. It doesn't matter if it's a week or a month. Just get offline and reduce the noise so that way you can focus on what's important to you. And if you're like, oh, well, all my business is on social media, trust me, maybe your social media breaks is only checking it twice a day for 15 minutes at a time, and then you don't check it for the rest of the day. You have to find what works for you. And finally, tip number 5 is instead of sleeping with my phone by my bed, I like to leave my phone on my dresser across the room. That way, when I wake up in the morning, it's not the first thing that I check. This has helped me tremendously because I wasn't realizing how many times I would wake up in the middle of the night and check my phone immediately, and then boom, those push notifications would be there, or all of a sudden there's something else that you want to check. Like I said last week, prioritize your sleep. And please don't use that excuse that, oh, I use my phone as an alarm clock. Okay, good. Even better. Get your butt out of bed, go turn off that alarm, and see how awake you'll be. No, but all jokes aside, some of us may not even be aware of how addicted we are to our phones, especially when it's become such a helpful medium in both our professional and social lives. By intentionally unplugging and taking these breaks from our devices, we can reduce stress, avoid summer burnout, and be more mindful of our relationships with our screen. So I challenge you to try these tips or any other tips that help you unplug and notice how it makes you feel. Then grant yourself the grace to move forward in a way that best suits you. Let's affirm our ability to be present and unplug when necessary. Feel free to repeat after me either to yourself or out loud. I prioritize my well-being and unplug regularly. I appreciate enjoying the moment without my phone's distractions. I embrace opportunities to disconnect and recharge. I release the need of always being plugged in. I am present and engaged with the world around me. Yes, you are. And again, I know that not everyone can unplug for a whole day or week, but the point is to find ways that work for you and give you the space that you need in order to regroup and be there for yourself. Let me know in the comments what you thought about today's affirmations and what are some unplugging tips that you do that maybe I didn't talk about today and you'd like to share. I want to hear them all. Take care. Thank you for tuning in. Please give us a 5-star review if you haven't already, and for additional resources, sign up for our newsletter on affirmyourabundance.com. Until next episode, stay abundant.